Alright, here comes section 1.2 over the order of operations. I know you're very familiar with this. We're talking about that PEMDAS phrase that you learned a long time ago. Remember that stands for, when we look at that, we see PEMDAS, we should be thinking of parentheses, exponents, multiplications and divisions, additions and subtractions. What I really want you to be careful with, though, is that when you're looking at this, I want you to stop thinking of it as a 6-step process like PEMDAS would have you think, and instead have you start thinking about it as more of a 4-step process. But you can still use PEMDAS, it works, and I'll still say it, but I'm not really a fan. I want you to think first we need to work within groupings. When we talk about working within groupings, we're really talking about the fact that we need to make sure that we consider brackets, parentheses, all of those good things. But I also want you to consider the fact that we need to consider a fraction bar to also be a grouping symbol. So we're going to work the part that's on top at the same time that we work the part that's on bottom. So if we look at this first example problem, 5 minus 3 is inside parentheses, and that's the first thing that we need to do. We know that 5 minus 3 is 2. The second piece we're going to look at are exponents. In this problem, 7 squared is the only exponent. 7 times 7 is 49, so we've taken the 7 squared out and replaced it with a 49. Step 3 is the one that's a little bit different and the same. I want you to think of multiplications and divisions as being equal, because really they're the same operation, even if they're separated. 10 divided by 2 and 49 times 2. So that 10 divided by 2 gives you a 5. 49 times 2 gives you 98. And then finally we end by doing additions and subtractions. Again, we would work from left to right if we had more than one. In this case, we only have one, so 5 plus 98 is 103. Let's do one more example, and then some practice problems. Example 1 here. We're looking at 30 times 2 divided by 2 squared minus 5. We don't have any grouping symbols, so we jump right to step 2, exponents. 2 squared becomes a 4. Then once we've evaluated our exponents, we do multiplications and divisions from left to right. So we'll do 30 times 2 before we take that and divide it by 4. So 30 times 2 is 60. 60 divided by 4 is 15. Notice that that minus 5 just tags along, because the very last step are our additions and subtractions. We only have one again, so we'll do that's 10. Alright, here's the spot where I want you to go ahead and stop.
And some people don't think wrestling's on the level. Well, now let's meet the #1 singing trio in the country today. With the song that brought them to the top of the record field, they're good-looking youngsters with long hair, and on them it looks good because they're girls. The Supremes.
In the name of love, before you break my heart, won't you stop? Baby, baby, I'm aware of where you go. Each time you leave my door, I watch you walk down the street, knowing your other love is me. This time before you run to her, leaving me alone and hurt. Haven't I been good to you? After I've been sweet to you. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Take it over, baby, baby, take it over.
So hopefully you've had enough time to go ahead, and if not, pause it again, and take a peek at your answers. Make sure you've done these correctly. You'll notice when you're looking at my answers that I've underlined each step that I'm doing before I go to the next piece. If you need more time, pause it again. I'm not going to talk through too much of this. If you have questions, I'd really like to go over them in class tomorrow. Let's go to example 2. As example 2 says, this time we're being given an algebraic expression. When we're giving an algebraic expression, the first thing that we need to do is make that substitution. So take the k out and put the 2 in because k is equal to 2. Keep everything else the same. So we're replacing it so that it becomes 2 squared. We know that 2 squared, notice this is one of those problems where that fraction bar gets treated like a grouping symbol. So we're going to work the top part separate from the bottom part until we have a single number on each, and then do simplification or division. So 2 squared becomes 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Then we can work either the top multiplication or the bottom multiplication. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 8 is 24. And we would never leave 24 over 24 because that is a division problem that can be done. So we simplify and we get an answer of 1. Alright, so you got some more. Stop in the name of math before you go any further. Think it over. Give them a try. Hopefully you did just fine on these 2 problems. I want to point out that there's a common error in problem number 2. The common error, once you make the substitution, is actually right up here in doing 4 times 5 minus 5 in the denominator of number 2, and taking this 5 minus 5 first, and then attempting to multiply by 4. So somehow students seem to get zeros happening here. If you've gotten a 0, you're making an error, and the fact of it is that you've done subtraction before you've done multiplication. So be really cautious with how you're seeing that problem happen. Remember that just because this is the way I did the problem doesn't mean it's the only way to do the problem. I could think of at least one other way to do problem number 2. Maybe you could think of another. Have a good one. Enjoy.